Welcome to this episode of the Conscious Business Coffee Break, where we take a few moments to explore what's happening in the conscious business movement, expand awareness, and encourage your efforts in conscious business. Greetings, everyone. I'm Stephen Donaco of the Conscious Business Enterprise, a division of Humanities team. And as we continue our exploration of the Conscious Business Declaration, today we're looking closer at Principle 4, that business must operate with transparency. So let me start, as always, with the preamble to the declaration. And that says, as a global community of business leaders, we are committed to developing the awareness and skills needed to consciously evolve our organizations in alignment with these principles. And today, Principle 4, business must operate with economic, social, and ecological transparency. So the system for this transparency is what we refer to as first wave conscious business within the conscious business movement. And first wave consists of the B Corp or the for benefit corporation realm. So I will put a link into B Corporation website where you can get a lot more detail on what that's all about. But let me just read this one piece from the website. This is from B Corp. Society's most challenging problems cannot be solved by government and nonprofits alone. The B Corp community works towards reduced inequality, lower levels of poverty, a healthier environment, stronger communities, and the creation of more high-quality jobs with dignity and purpose. By harnessing the power of business, B Corps use profit and growth as a means to a greater end. Positive impact for their employees, communities, and the environment. B Corps form a community of leaders and drive a global movement of people using business as a force for good. So that's some background on what B Corp is. And then the structure for this transparency in that context is B Corp and benefit corporations. So you may have heard of these terms. A B Corporation is perhaps a little bit more popular because you actually see, if you're a conscious consumer, assuming that if you're tuning into this, you probably are, and you're mindful of what you're buying, there are a lot of products in the store that have a B Corp label on them, which means that the companies selling those products have been certified as B Corps. And then there's a legal structure called benefit corporations. So these things are different, but a corporation can be both a benefit corporation and a B Corp. And really the difference is, and it's not all that complicated, but it's worth mentioning, is that a benefit corporation is a legal structure. Basically a company organizing itself as a benefit corporation. And what that means is it's a self-reported structure where the principles of accountability and transparency are built in, and the company is responsible for maintaining integrity with those. Now, so that's a legal structure. Now, B Corps, on the other hand, is a structure of certification. So there's a lot of rigor behind becoming a certified B Corp. So there's an assessment process. There's an oversight process, and there's also support services for companies that get the certification. But at the end of the day, there's really two key things that both benefit corporations and B Corps come together on. And that is, one is accountability. So the directors of those companies are required to consider the impact of their company's actions on all stakeholders. So this is part of the transparency. And then there's the transparency itself, which is that both benefit corps and B Corps must publish a report of their social and environmental performance, at least on an annual basis. And a company can be organized as a benefit corp and then become certified as a B Corp. It could have both. It could have one or the other, or neither, in which case it's more the old paradigm of business. So, of course, in the context of the overall conscious business declaration, this transparency, this principle 4 of transparency, is supported by the principle of presence. And presence, as we've talked about before, and if you follow anything else that we do in Conscious Business Enterprise, you know presence is really our key pillar and foundation. So presence is that ever-present substance without which there would be no life. We would not be animated in these vessels of human bodies if there were no life, and if there were no presence, there would be no life. And then looking at that as in a practical human operational way, it's the practice of presence that is the showing up we do, and showing up consistently to remain in alignment with this principle. Now, in B Corp and benefit corporations, without a principle of presence, a company might regress. And Steve Farrell has talked about in some of his musings about the Etsy, which was a B corporation. And then Etsy got reorganized. The board of directors brought in a new CEO, and they actually did away with the B Corp pursuit, did away with the B Corp certification, and went back to like an old paradigm of business focused primarily on maximizing profit. Now, in the context of our Conscious Business Declaration, if you would operate as a benefit corporation, if you operate with the principles of transparency, there's really no looking back, because like once you're awakened to presence, you cannot unawake yourself. And so here's the power of what we're doing in Third Wave Conscious Business by living the power of presence, and presence as a principle of showing up. So then let's review our Conscious Business Declaration from the top. The first 4 principles. Principle 1, we are one with humanity and all of life. Business and institutions of the human community are integral parts of a single reality, interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. And again, when you realize that, you cannot unrealize it. Principle 2, in line with the reality of oneness, the purpose of business is to increase economic prosperity while contributing to a healthy environment and improving human well-being. Principle 3, business must go beyond sustainability and the philosophy of do no harm to restoring the self-renewing integrity of the earth. So this speaks to flourishing beyond sustainability and to the evolution towards flourishing. And then finally, principle 4, which we discussed today, business must operate with economic, social, and ecological transparency. B Corp and benefit corporations giving us a structure for that, but then we take it farther by living the truth of oneness through presence. I'll put a link to bcorporation.net in the comments to the video. And in the meantime, then we will see you on Friday, 9 a.m. U.S. Central Time, for another edition of the Conscious Business Coffee Break and Principle 5 of the Conscious Business Declaration. Have a beautiful day, everyone. See you then.